Hello everyone, I'm Dragon Whelp and welcome back to World of Warcraft Legion. Well, 7.1.5 has hit and is live. And what does that mean for us? Well, as a shaman, that means our rotation and some of our talent choices have changed. What talent choices, you may ask? Well, before we took Boulder Fist, Windrush Totem, occasionally. Lightning Surge Totem, definitely. We did take Hailstorm, Tempest, Crash Lightning, or Crash Storms, and Landslide. Well, as you can see now, because of the 7.1.5 update, some things got nerfed, some things got extremely buffed, and other things got a little bit of buff, but also a nerf in the same instance. Like, for instance, Astral Swiftness. Because Hailstorm got such a bad nerf, Astral Swiftness, even though it got nerfed, it's still better than Hailstorm. But I'm going to go through the new talents. Astral Swiftness is actually, or Ancestral Swiftness, sorry, is one of the changes that has been made. But as you can see, I don't take Boulder Fist anymore. I actually take Hot Hands. Due to the fact that they updated, or they made a major buff to Lava Lash, it actually hits harder. And with Hot Hands, you actually get a proc that does not only no cost to Maelstrom, but it also does 100% increased damage, which for us, especially if you take the talent Doom Vortex on your weapon as enhancement, of course. I'm not speaking on the fact of elemental. I'm speaking on the facts of enhancement. If you take Doom Vortex, Lava Lash has a chance to cause Doomhammer to release a fiery tornado at your target's location, dealing 57,345 damage, which that's me with on my gear, over 3 seconds to enemies within 3 yards, which is just a little bitty tornado that pops up. It's not all the time, but it is a random proc. But needless to say, because it has no cost when Hot Hands procs, and it deals, costs no Maelstrom, it's pretty much a free, hard-hitting ability that overtook what Boulder Fist used to. Now, people can argue to take Windsong, which it's best used in high DPS rotations, or when you need a lot of burst damage. But all in all, if you don't want something to manage your abilities, or you have to micromanage pressing another button, Hot Hands is the ability for you. Windrush Totem's the same. Lightning Surge Totem, all that is speculation. You could change either of these out for whatever you need. Some people might argue to go Feral Lunge. I stick with Windrush Totem because my guild and myself, I always want to be able to provide, any type of movement speed where necessary. Hailstorm is one of the abilities that has been changed. It got a massive nerf in this last patch, and Lightning Surge or Lightning Shield, it's still not up to par. That's why the passive 6% increase to haste is just mind-boggling, because it allows your attacks to hit harder. Not only does it hit harder, it also hits faster. So the faster it hits, the more crits you get, the more damage you do. It's just a snowball effect from there. Tempest is the same. We're literally just keeping Tempest because it's better. I mean, you could probably argue when leveling, you probably would want to go with Overcharge. But Tempest is just allows us to have two. When our Storm Strike procs, we allow to have 2 of them rather than just 1. And again, Empowered Storm Lash is not really worth it. It's one of the weaker ones of this tier. But if you're leveling, Overcharge would probably be something in your early days as an Enhancement Shaman, whereas where you probably want to ultimately get Tempest, because it gives you 2 stacks of Storm Strike when it procs, and it allows a lot of hard hitting, because Storm Strike is a really big hard hitter. Now, before we used to take Crash Lightning, which allowed the little pool of lightning to be on the ground after you did crash lightning on the ground, and enemies standing in it took damage. But since the update, Fury of Air has actually got a big buff. Instead of using a lot of Maelstrom like it did, it actually uses less now. So it's a lot better. It does a lot more damage, and it does, you know, damage per second, where this one would do so much nature damage over 6 seconds. This one is straight up damage per second. And the longer you keep Maelstrom going, the longer you can keep your air going, and it's a good thing for AoE. I found that it really works in a big AoE situation where Crash Lightning was okay, but you still wound up taking a lot of damage from creatures that are still either 75% to 50% healthy and not taking them down. But with Fury Air getting the buff, you actually do a lot more damage to creatures all around in a big AoE situation. Crash Lightning, if you Crash Storms, if you want to take it, I mean, it's not as good as it used to. I think it got a nerf in the last patch, where it got a nerf. And then Sundering, I don't think it's still, to me personally, it's not worth it. But Landslide is still the better of the level 100 talents. I mean, you could probably argue for Ascendance, but ultimately Landslide is going to allow you to get an agility buff, which is our main stat as an Enhancement Shaman. It's going to allow us to keep that 8% agility for 10 seconds, and as long as you keep casting Rockbiter on your target, you keep refreshing that Landslide, which that should be constant throughout the entirety of the fight, unless it's a lot of movement-based activities. And then Earth Spike. Earth Spike did get a buff, but it's not as good as Landslide, in my opinion. So that's the things that have updated. A lot of the other things that I posted in a How My Shaman video still prevalent, other than the rotation, which in the rotation, it's just basically the same thing as the old rotation, except you have a few new things you have to worry about. You still start off with Rockbiter. You want to build up Maelstrom with Rockbiter, and it's instant, and you do it as often as the GCD comes off cooldown. So you sit there and you do that. You want to get as much Maelstrom as you can see up in the top left corner, which is really, really small. I'm at full Maelstrom now, which is not hard to do. So once you get it full Maelstrom, as you can see here, I got a proc of Lava Lash. Once you get full Maelstrom, you want to hit there and you want to hit Fury of Air. You want to hit Lava Lash when Hot Hands procs, and of course, as always, you want to use your stacks of Storm Strike as they proc. So other than that, you just weave in your other spells as needed. Make sure that you are constantly keeping Rockbiter on charge. Make sure you're using it as often as you can to keep your Maelstrom high. And if you see if your Maelstrom's getting low, focus on Rockbiter. But other than that, you just sit there and you have Fury of Air going. You get your Lava Lash procs. You get your Storm Strike procs. You just mesh in all of it. Make sure that you keep Flame Tongue up, because it does give you a buff. That buff, each of your weapons attacks causes X amount of fire damage, which is just extra damage in your pocket as long as you keep it up, which I usually hit it every time it comes off cooldown, which is not a hard thing to do. And you just have to watch your procs. You get Lava Lash proc, use it. You get a Storm Strike proc, use it. You see that you're needing some abilities to fill in, use Crash Lightning. Crash Lightning's a good ability to weave in there. And you just keep, as you can see, my Tornado, my Fury of Air is continually going, and it will continue to go as long as I have Maelstrom. And as long as you keep your Maelstrom high, you won't ever have to turn it off, where it will never be turned off, because it doesn't. It's pretty much your Maelstrom dumper, but it uses 3 Maelstrom per second, and it does damage every one. So it's just a massive thing that you can keep going through the entirety of a fight, as long as it's not massively movement based. And you just go through the rotation, And it's basically, you know, you see a bright light on an ability, use it. You're running low on Maelstrom, you know, start stacking up those Rockbiter strikes. You can use it on cooldown, and it doesn't have really a cooldown at all, just waiting for the GCD or the global cooldown. And yeah, that's pretty much it, other than throwing in your feral spirits in there at the beginning of a fight. It's all good. So yeah, that's the newest thing that update. You see that tornado there? That's what I was talking about with Doom. What the Doom Winds does. That's the proc from the Doom Hammer. It doesn't proc all the time, but it does. When it does proc, it does do a lot. I mean, a lot of damage. And it's just basically based on procs. Okay, I ran out of Maelstrom, so I have to activate Fury of Air again. And you just rinse and repeat the process. That's the only really changes that has happened in 7.1.5 as far as the DPS rotation and the new talent system of Enhancement Shaman. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave a comment down below. I'll be happy to answer them, and any questions that you have. If I forgot to, if I missed anything, please let me know, and I will do an update video to this. But thank you everybody for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a big thumbs up. And until next time, see you later.